War 26 Bravo it was an arduous affair, I would say. I've never seen the attrition quite so atrocious, I guess I should say. I think everyone that went through that war will remember the middle of it as being so long. The great stalemate. It wasn't so much that neither side got ground, it's just both sides kept getting ground, but they couldn't consolidate it. So War 27 Bravo was kind of a weird slap in the face to be playing on the same map, the same map, except now it's missing 4 hexes. So it just smooshes the players a little closer together. And in War 27 Bravo, less is certainly more. I can tell you that. Because there's more of us fighting in a more condensed area, things are just, I guess, interesting. Shard Bravo, stop smoking weed. Shard Bravo, what I like about it compared to the other shards is there is a lot of new players, okay? I am talking about Foxhole. It's basically my second job. It is an internet video game. It's pretty low spec, which is pretty cool, but the big gist here is that the map is huge. It's like close to like 30 something battlefield maps stitched together, but it lasts for like, well, Ward 26 Bravo lasted for 40 days. So it's very addicting because even when I'm at work, I have to remember that the war continues. The war is going on every second of every day. There's 500 people trying to kill each other, and I'm one of them. I fight on the warden side. And so we won the war, and as usual, I just crave for the next one. Um, I guess you could say this is basically my second job. I've got 4,000 hours in it, and you know, no one pays me, right? I don't have to be told that I'm doing a good job. I just do it. What I do is I'm a partisan. I go behind enemy lines and I sabotage and murder people. And the thing is, right, is and in this game I'm not a very high rank. I think I have more hours than anyone else that plays actively, but I'm not a very high rank. And that's because only the enemy knows if I do a good job or not. My guys don't know. They're off doing something else. And so no matter what you do, you really shouldn't have to rely, I think, on other people telling you if you're good or not, because then your goodness will only cap out as to how much they're paying attention to you. So it doesn't, at that point, it doesn't become like how good you are. It becomes how good you are at showing it off. And there's plenty of people that are great at that. And then if that's something you want to do, that's okay. And you will get more credit than I will. But I love what I do, so I don't care. I don't care. You shouldn't need credit to do what you love. Um, because the map is so big, I used to be a delivery driver. So all I would fucking do is I would build shit in the back of the map and I'd drive it up the front. So like every bullet, every uniform, every gun is made by a player and delivered by a player. But one night, a group of enemy partisans fucked up my truck and it just changed me. It really changed me. And I became a partisan. Damn. I'll tell you that I have a job in hard labor, and hard labor goes well with fun video games because when you can put perseverance, when you can put actual physical pain And you can deal with that. You can really deal with anything else. But if you're not willing to have some skin in the game, oh, I don't. I have too many psychiatric issues to be an EMT. If people should not fucking put their lives in my hands. So basically, the war started. I move boxes. I move boxes and I move furniture. I move boxes and I move furniture for wealthy clients. And a day I was paid to swim in their swimming pool. I was paid by the clients and I was paid by my employer to swim in a swimming pool for my clients after I moved their boxes and furniture. And so the war started. And I took a chance. I took a chance. You see, at the beginning of the war, just like in real life, there's so much jubilation. Everyone, including myself, they all think that this will be the good war. This will be the war where virtue defeated tyranny, right? And so there's so many more players. There's just so many more players. And these guys kept saying that they were going to do an amphibious partisan mission, an amphibious partisan incursion. And so I've been a part of really bad naval invasions before, and it goes kind of like this. The boat gets really close to the shore, the door opens, and then everyone dies. Oh, like Omaha, look, what they don't tell you, all right, because it would not be very virtuous. The reason Omaha Beach worked is because we sent in so many boats with so many people in, all right? It had nothing to do with strategy or planning or any of that. We sent 1 million men or more. I don't know how many. It would have been, seeing that fleet would have been just shocking and baffling that all those people were coming to kill you. And it doesn't matter how many you kill because it'll be more. I'm sure those MG-42 bunkers, the most lethal machine gun of almost, I think, all time, maybe, unleashed on just packs of just people walk. I don't know. Well, anyways, look. So amphibious invasions, there's a reason they're not good. And I got invited to an amphibious invasion. In fact, everyone got invited to an amphibious invasion, okay? And long story short, it went really well. It went remarkably well. Just long story short, and here's why. There was planning. Okay, we had a plan. It was a good plan, which helps. Good plans really help out a lot, but also the fact that we planned it. All right, I'm a captain, but the guy in charge of this operation was a lieutenant, and there were warrant officers following this lieutenant. I think that's okay. I'm good at what I do, and I like doing what I do, and I don't need anyone to appreciate what I'm doing. And so the landing goes off without a hitch, and basically we landed right on an enemy supply line, and we built a base. And because it was so early in the war, and because our move was just so like out of the left field, they didn't know what to do about it. And see, the thing is, right, the reason this plan worked is because their players and their soldiers will be spawning at a forward base. Okay, they will be spawning and trying to fight us or move and do missions. Okay, they will not be going to a backline area to spawn, and we were in a backline area, so they were caught in this strange kind of mix. It is difficult, I think, to organize players to move outside of those frontline bases. I think they want to just continuously push forward. Map awareness is something that I really would recommend everyone has a little bit more of. And that comes down to this. That comes down to this, all right? The reason I wear this helmet is so no one blows my brains out. All right? We looked at the map and it was basically the reason why this worked the way it worked is the map has never been like the way it is. All right. What we did was revolutionary. It's it was just it was I don't know how they pieced it together, but they did. And essentially this entire war has been, I could surmise it like this. We act sneaky all the time. The collies act sneaky some of the time. Okay. And these southern hexes, it seems like I was driving my little motorboat. One time I ran into a guy going back. One time I ran into a gunship. We had all these guys. We had all these guys doing all these operations, and the collies could have stopped us easily if they would have had more sneaky guys out there, but they just didn't have any sneaky guys out there. And so essentially the enemy had a long supply line that was along a long body of water, and that made the supply line very vulnerable. And I think for I have 10 days clocked in this war. For about 7 of those days, I would just get in a boat and go harass the supply line. I will say that instead of a proactive force, they have more of like a reactive force. Their QRF force, I wouldn't necessarily say that it was quick, but when it reacted, it reacted. And basically, I think that there's wanted posters with me at the collie backline, probably a few others. But what's really nice about this war, I guess, compared to the last one, is there aren't so many new players. Like there's still a lot of new players, but there aren't so many new players. There are not so many new players, and so you can give each individual player more time, more attention, more energy, and it's less burdensome. It's less burdensome. It's less burdensome when at least someone knows what they're doing. But I'll tell you this, right? Like I've had a couple good operations so far planned. I've got and they've gone off pretty well. It seems like my little squads fall to pieces like a stack of cards just against even just one. Even one like enemy veteran seems to be just a terrible match for me. I seem to be. It seems like for me, right now that I'm not operating alone, it seems like I get more done on a larger scale, but I'm less survivable. I'm personally less survivable. But that's I guess that's the okay thing, because that it was really cool. So basically what we did is there was the battle for Silk Farms. We kept going across okay, there's one bridge, and then there's another bridge south of that, and then there's like a whole open back line, okay? And all we did this entire time for days at a time, like 2 or 3 days, just send guys against one bridge. The other bridge was open the entire time, and so people are just like, "What? Why don't we do this?" So I sent people out there. We went in two little armored cars, or not armored cars, the little Drummonds, the little regular Drummonds, not armored, just a car. And I ran over a guy that was carrying Banes, and so we get over to the other side, and so what I did, right, is I had one guy with the RPG, me. I had one guy laying mines, and I had one guy running security, okay? And if you have 4 guys, make it 2 guys running security. And basically, you need someone pulling security at all times. Okay, you need someone. You need somebody with their gun out. You need somebody with their gun out at all times. If they don't have that gun out, it just becomes it becomes anybody looking to ambush you will do that. Okay, the thing with targeting structures, right, is you're going PVE, but against PvP, not so good. And so we went to get more mines and rockets, and I came back and I saw that the guy that we left, he was all bloodied and fucked up, but he had destroyed an enemy truck. Okay. And so what I did is I brought a med kit. All right. You want for these long range missions, you definitely want to have a med kit, at least in one vehicle. And I patched them up and I blew up more structures. We blew up a bunker base, but then the enemy started attacking us. All right. And we were losing. We were actually losing. It was me and another guy pulling security. He ran out of ammo for his gun, so I let him have my gun. So I had nothing but a grenade in my RPG, and we blew up a base. But I was like, "Fuck, God, let's just run away," because the enemy was just like he wasn't killing us, but he was hurting us a lot, and my guys weren't hurting him back. So I said, "Let's just go. Let's get out of here." And I called the mission just like that. So as it became morning, as it was no longer night, we left. You want to use night to your advantage. Yeah, so far this war is going really well. I guess it's almost going too well. I have an absolute like sinking feeling that we will just end up winning more wars in Baker Shard, and the Able Shard will end up winning more wars for the Collies. I have just the sinking feeling that it's basically become like that, where I don't know. I maybe that means I need to go to Able to help them out, but Baker needs my help, and Baker's my home. But I think in the future that there's going to be less than 3 shards. I think 3 shards is preposterous because what's the difference between Charlie and Baker? They probably needed 3 shards initially just to deal with the whole rush. A highlight I think that I've had so far in the war is there's this guy that made all these widows, or I think that's what they're called. It's like an anti-tank. It's like a tank destroyer thing. My gunner did not talk, or maybe he doesn't speak English very well. I made him on Facebook, but he got a badass kill on a Bardiche. Unfortunately, like a Silverhand basically had to get maimed and just like almost completely destroyed in the process just for us to kill the Bardiche. But we didn't take any ammo. We didn't take any damage, which is badass. I because he couldn't like tell me when to stop, I kind of just had to like pretend like I knew, and that was good enough. But I guess the saving grace there is the gun on that widow is just insane. And of course, we had a freaking Silverhand with 2, separate guns on it. So that probably had a lot to do with it more than anything else. But it felt great. It felt great. The major driving that tank, he's a cool guy. Yeah. He's got a stupid British accent. He sounds like the desert British people from Call of Duty 2. Colonel Montgomery. He's a cool guy. I like that guy. I like fighting with him. So we go and we ammo back up, and like for whatever reason, right? Like my driver, he contacts me through Facebook, and I don't know if I've even heard his voice before. I don't even know if I've heard his voice before. But like all that confusion and all that lack of communication that was initially there, as soon as he got that kill, like we're definitely on the same picture about everything, and everything just started like I don't know. He just started understanding everything I started saying to him. I don't know. To this day, I don't know. He's a cool guy. He's a good gunner. And so we went on our second mission together, and it was a night mission. And I was like, dude, this is a stupid mission, but it's just a prototype tank, and there's more of them. And nobody wants these tanks, so we're just gonna do it. And he said nothing. He said nothing. And so we went to this enemy town, and it was really kind of fucked up because he didn't, for some reason, I don't know why, people that don't play in the night can't see in the dark. Maybe it's just because my graphic settings are on minimal. I like, for me, like, you'll be looking in the darkness, right? And it's darker than everything else, but it's not black. Okay, it's different shades of gray. No more than 49 though. I'm sorry about that. That would have been funny 13 years ago, maybe, to select audiences. So yeah, you can look into the darkness and you can see what's out there. You can't see people, but you can see everything else. So like, watchtowers look different than everything else in the game. Okay, but if you can't see one because they're behind a tree, you can look at the ground. All right, I mean, you're kind of always looking at the ground, but it looks like a sandy, discolored thing. It's not green grass. It's not white snow. It's just discolored shit. It's sand or gravel or something, or peat or something. Okay, so I had to like basically drive the tank up to it and tell him to shoot it, and he did that. But then I was checking the map because he was nailing the safe house over and over again. I was checking the map and I saw there was one guy out there, and I was like, and then I saw he went right in the safe house. I was like, and like, I knew what he was doing. He was either getting a launcher or a grenade or something to come get us. All right. Why would he just, it doesn't make any sense for him not to be doing that. Okay, so he did that. All right, so I said, let's get out of here. So I mean, it didn't matter what I said. I was just going to drive us backwards anyways. But then we ran into like a Gallagher or whatever, the fast tank. And I was like, oh, do you guys want to come help us? And they're like, yeah, sure, why not? And so we went over there, and all hell broke loose. It was just pandemonium. The enemy, like I told them, I'm like, the enemy has AT infantry. There's probably 4 or 5 AT infantry guys, just so you guys know. They're like, we'll be cool. And it was pandemonium, right? Like, these rockets erupted from this cliff, and it hit me in the fuel rack, which sucked because I lost all my fuel. I basically just couldn't move the tank. And so it got stuck right there. But at least the tank, my little tank destroyer, at least it was facing the right direction to shoot at the safe house. And then that medium tank or whatever it was that was with us, it's like running around getting shot at by all these AT rifles and shit. I'm like, oh fuck, there it goes. Somehow it's still alive. It takes up position behind us. 2 guys get out of the tank. I help them and I start repairing it. And I tell my gunner, I'm like, just protect them. Whatever you do, just protect them. And he medium did that. He didn't really exactly do that, not to the best. But like, during all this, like, it was just like, it was one of our guys on the ground, one friendly tank, and then me building a watchtower because I didn't have a gun. I just had a grenade. We built the watchtower, and then like, they finally destroyed my tank. I'm like, let's get out of here. I said, like, there's no way we're going to survive this unless we leave right now. And the tank was like, oh, I don't know, maybe we'll stay here. And then they got hit with something else, like, okay, let's go. And so we escaped. But unfortunately, my gunner didn't survive the escape, which really, yeah, that was unfortunate. But at least he was the only casualty for our entire operation. So, I don't know. It feels good to win. But honestly, it also feels good to lose in this game, and I almost prefer it. I almost prefer to be on the losing side because you just have to fight that much more. You just have to fight that much more intensely. Just even to stay on your own 2 feet, I think.